Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome to lecture number 10. This is grade 10. The subject is Islamic study. Dear students, I am your Islamic study teacher, Shahid Ali. Dear students, I hope you learned the previous lesson well. Lecture number 9. In their lecture, dear students, I discuss in detail Hijrah, the importance of Hijrah, and similarly the benefits of Hijrah in this world and the hereafter, and the reward of the Hijrah for the believers. So, dear students, in today's lesson, today's lecture, I will discuss in detail, inshallah, the remaining topic of chapter number 8, which is Jihad. This is the second topic of the same chapter. So let's start this topic and discuss it in detail. This is, dear students, jihad. Jihad is jihad in is an Arabic word. Here it is written, and this is as jihad is an Arabic word derived from juhd or jahd, which means endure, effort, or struggle. Dear student, what does it mean? Jihad means efforts or struggle, and it is Arabic word. It is Arabic word and derived from the basic word which is juhd or jahd, which means what? Struggle or efforts. In Islamic terminology, it means to exercise all types of physical and mental energy in the way of Allah. What is jihad in Islamic terminology? So, jihad is, according to Islamic terminology, to exercise all type of physical and mental energy, to use all kind of energy, physically or mentally, in the way of Allah wa ta'ala. So this is called jihad. Jihad requires the believers to sacrifice wealth, families, blood relations, and even their own lives for the supremacy and spread of true religion. Dear student, jihad is a great cause. Jihad is a great thing, and it required what? That it required from the believers that the believers will sacrifice all their things they have. They will sacrifice their wealth for the cause of Allah wa ta'ala, so it will be jihad. Similarly, the believers will sacrifice their families and their blood relations for the cause of Allah wa ta'ala, for the religion of Allah wa ta'ala. They will sacrifice families and blood relations in the God of Allah, in the way of God. And even they will sacrifice their own lives for the sake of Allah's religion. So it will be called jihad, and it will be jihad. So their purpose will be what? For the supremacy and spread of the true religion. The believer will sacrifice all these things for what? For the supremacy and for the spreading of the true religion of Islam. Those who take part in jihad do their best to make the designs of the enemies ineffective and check their attacks. The believers do not withhold from fighting if it is if it is if it becomes inevitable to serve the religion. That is why jihad has been declared a great worship in Islamic teachings. Dear students, a believer will not stop to fighting to fight whenever there is there is danger to the religion, or there is any problem which cause damage to the religion, so then a believer will not stop uh, fighting, or he will not hesitate to fight against such things to save the religion. And that is the reason that jihad is declared the great worship in Islamic teachings. In Islamic teaching, the jihad has great value and importance. The sense of jihad is very clear. According to some theologians, the best kind of jihad is jihad fin nafs, jihad with his own self. According to some theologians, such a type of jihad is jihad akbar. It means that one should be willing and prepared to bear all the physical tortures in the service of the religion of Allah Ta'ala. This is what this is called jihad akbar or jihad fil nafs. It means that a person will prepare always to bear all kind of tortures, physical tortures and physical dangers and physical difficulties for what? For the service of the religion of Allah wa ta'ala. So it will be called what? Jihad fil nafs or jihad akbar. The Holy Quran and some tradition of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam give importance to this kind of jihad. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا وإن الله لمع المحسنين. This is the ayah of Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah number 69. Translation of this ayah is, and those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our path, and verily Allah is with the good. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those they are fighting are striving for us. لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. We will guide them to our right path, to our path. And verily, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala is with good people. Types of jihad. Yes, student, this was the definition of jihad. The jihad means striving or struggling in the cause of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Now here, types of jihad are mentioned. According to the Holy Quran, there are two types of jihad: jihad fil nafs and jihad fil mal. Bin nafs and bil mal. These are the two categories of jihad mentioned in this chapter. So, dear students, the first category or the first kind is jihad bin nafs. Jihad bin nafs is jihad by person, which means that a Muslim should be willing and prepared to bear all kind of physical troubles in the service of the religion of Almighty Allah. That a believer should bear all kind of trouble, dangers, difficulties, physically or mentally, or what for the religion of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So it will be called jihad bin nafs. One must be prepared to undergo hardship or to be sentenced to death. He must not fear arrows, spears, swords, guns, or cannons. He must be prepared to receive injuries and cuts which may take even his life. When we use the word jihad, it usually means jihad bin nafs. In the Holy Quran, the word qital is used for this type of jihad. So, dear students, here in this paragraph, it is clear that jihad bin nafs means what? That a believer will prepare himself to bear all sort and all kind of tortures, dangers, difficulty, physically or mentally, for the cause of Allah wa Ta'ala. And similarly, a believer should prepare himself for to face arrows, spears, swords, guns, and cannons in the way of Allah wa ta'ala. And similarly, in some occasion, even he will lose his life for the cause of Allah wa ta'ala. But a believer will remain steadfast, and this will be called jihad bin nafs. And similarly, in the Holy Quran, the word qital is used for this type of jihad. Allah Ta'ala commands the Muslims to make preparation for jihad and forbids Muslim to use the word dead or the martyrs. Now here Allah Ta'ala is giving respect and giving high ranks to them. Those they get martyrdom in the cause of Allah Ta'ala, Allah says to the believer, then don't tell them or don't use the word did for them. They are liable with Allah Ta'ala. The Holy Quran says that the martyrs receive sustenance, rizq, from their Lord and they hold festivities. Allah has promised a great reward for them for the martyrs. So, dear students, this was the topic of jihad bin nafs. Now, here jihad bin mal. This is another topic in the main topic jihad. Jihad bil mal or jihad by wealth means that one has to spend one's wealth or property for the preaching of religion and for the success of truth. This is jihad bil mal, that one who have money or who have property, who have the resources, he should use and he uses that property or wealth for the religion of Allah wa ta'ala and for the true cause. So that is called jihad bil mal. Almighty Allah gives man wealth and property so that he may spend in the way of Allah wa ta'ala. The property and wealth is given to the believers for what? For this purpose that he may spend this property and wealth in the Allah wa ta'ala way. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم الذين آمنوا وهاجروا وجاهدوا في سبيل الله بأموالهم وأنفسهم أعظم درجة عند الله. Translation: those who believe and migrated and did jihad in the way of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala by wealth and by person. By wealth, they are exalted to high ranks by Allah. Here, dear students, in this ayah, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala mentioned both things, jihad bin nafs and jihad bil mal. Allah says that those they do jihad, they did jihad in the way of Allah by wealth jihad bil mal. And by person jihad bin nafs, they are exalted to high ranks by Allah. أعظم درجة عند الله, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala will give them high ranks. So, and other hand, those who hoard up will those there together wealth and do not spend it in the way of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, they have been warned of severe punishment. The Holy Quran says, the Holy Quran says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والذين يكنزون الذهب والفضة ولا ينفقونها في سبيل الله فبشرهم بعذاب أليم. Translation: those who hoard, those they gather up gold and silver and do not spend it in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will give them the good news of painful punishment. So now here, Allah tabarak wa ta'ala give them warning that those they are gathering the gold and the wealth and they are not spending them in the Allah tabarak wa ta'ala way, and they are not spending this gold and wealth for the true religion of Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. So فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. Give them the good news. Good news for what? this is another, you can say, punishment that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala will give them painful punishment. There are two major hindrances in the way of success and progress. The first is love for oneself, and other is love for wealth. Now, the nation which set aside these hindrances and spend its wealth and manpower without any hesitation gains success. Now, dear students, here it is mentioned that two things that are important for a believer or for a person. One is his own self, and another is his wealth. Now, if a nation or if a person or if a believer spend his wealth and his own self for Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala or for the true religion of Allah, so then he will gain success. Jihad by knowledge, this is another kind of jihad. This is another type of jihad. The unrest and mischievous activities in the world are due to the lack of knowledge and education. If a, if a man has common sense and knowledge, he should also benefit others with these virtues. The Holy Quran says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ادع إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة وجادلهم بالتي هي أحسن. Surah Nahl, ayah number 125. Translation: Invite to the way of your Lord. ادع إلى سبيل ربك. Invite to the way of your Lord with wisdom and beautiful preaching. بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. With wisdom invite them, and with beautiful preaching invite them. وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, and argue with them in a better way. Talk with them in a better way. Thus the preaching of Islam is the preaching of religion, and inviting to the truth is an intellectual manner, is also a type of jihad. And such a preaching yields good result. In Surah Al-Furqan, such a type of preaching has been named Jihad Kabira, which means the great jihad. So this is, dear student, the third kind of jihad, the next kind of jihad, which is called jihad with knowledge. One who has education and one who has knowledge can do this kind of jihad by inviting people or preaching people toward the true religion intellectually and in a good manner. And this is also a type of jihad. Next is commitment and devotion. This is another topic. There is another type of jihad, and that is to perform one's duty with full commitment and devotion. This is also jihad, that one should commit to his work and devote himself to his work, to his duty. Once a companion radiallahu ta'ala of the Holy Prophet ﷺ sought permission for taking part in jihad. The Holy Prophet ﷺ asked him if his parents were alive. The companion radiallahu ta'ala replied that they were alive. The Holy Prophet ﷺ asked him to do jihad by attending them. So, by attending the old parents and respecting them and providing them all the things material they need, this is also called jihad, a commitment to them and devote himself to the parent. It is also called jihad. To say truth before a tyrant is also jihad. One who is cruel upon other, and to say kalimatul haq in front of him, this is called jihad, rather a greater jihad. The Holy Prophet ﷺ said that jihad would continue till the day of judgment. Dear students, this was a little bit of the explanation of the jihad and its kind. Now here are rules and regulations mentioned about the jihad. There are some rules and regulations. Jihad is an organized effort, and it is performed under the strict rules and regulation and unarmed. An armed struggle started by a person or a group is not jihad. Individually or by a group from your own self, it is not jihad. For jihad, it is necessary that institute of learned religious scholars make an impartial study of the circumstances and pass a verdict supporting jihad, and then an Islamic State issue official orders to that effect. It is also necessary that the proposed jihad aims at helping the oppressed Muslims, removing obstacles from the way of preaching Islam, doing away with the mischiefs of the enemies of Islam, and fulfilling the wish of God. These will be the aims of jihad, and it will be ordered by the chief or the uh, Islamic State. It will be ordered by the official of the Islamic State, so then it will be considered jihad. And the aim will be what? To support the Muslim to preach Islam and also to remove obstacles and oppression from the believers. And the most important thing about the jihad aim is toward fulfilling the wish of God. That will be the aim of jihad. There are certain conditions of the jihad, and these are: it is necessary to wage war against the enemies of Islam under the following conditions. Number one, the enemy invade an Islamic territory. This is the first condition of fighting against the enemies, that the enemy invade an Islamic territory. Number two, the enemies of Islam are torturing the Muslims, so then it is allowed. Number three, third condition is the disbelievers prohibit the Muslim to adopt the teaching of Islam. Jihad becomes necessary even if an Islamic state imposes religious restriction on the non-Muslim subjects. It is so because Allah does not allow anyone to compel the people to change their religion, to change their religion or path. Islam also does not allow to destroy the places of worship of the non-Muslims. Number fourth condition of the jihad is the enemies are the guilty of the breach of the agreement and they have become traitors. So then jihad is allowed. Number fifth condition for jihad is the enemies have destroyed the peace and order and they have spread chaos in the country. So then the fifth condition of jihad will be applicable. In the presence of the conditions mentioned above, it becomes inevitable for the Muslim to uproot the seeds of evil and have a war with the infidels, non-Muslims. If such like things happen, above mentioned conditions happen, then the believers are directed to wage war against the infidels. Here are some rules, some principles for the jihad of the jihad. The main principles of jihad are as follow. Number one, number first principle is peace. Peace is the first weapon of the Muslim. Therefore, they should continue to make efforts for the establishing a peaceful atmosphere. In case the enemy exceeds his limits, it becomes necessary for the Muslim to reply them in the same coin, in the same way. Number second principle is it is necessary that jihad is declared by the head of an Islamic state. Individually, it will be not acceptable. A group or an individual decide to do jihad, no, that will be not acceptable. It is necessary that jihad is declared by the head of an Islamic state. Number third principle is it is the first and foremost duty of every Muslim to obey the head of the Islamic State under all circumstances during jihad. Number four principle is for the jihad is it is strictly forbidden for the Muslims taking part in jihad to break the agreement, deceive the people, and practice dishonesty in the distribution of booty. Distribution of booty means by the ghanima after the finishing of the war against infidel, the things which the Muslim get from the infidels, it is called booty. So they should not practice dishonesty during the distribution of Mal Ghanima. Number fifth principle of jihad is during jihad, the Muslims are not allowed to cut the nose, ear, or other parts of the body of the enemy. The Muslims are also forbidden to murder women, old people, children, the blind, and the crippled, the disabled people. So, dear student, these were the principles, and these are the shining principle of Islam. That Islam, if the jihad is ordered by the state of Islamic state, so then the believers are not allowed to disgrace the body of the dead infidels. They are not allowed to murder, to kill the women and of the enemies, and similarly the old people of the enemies and children, because this is against the Islamic values and against the grace of the believers. So these are the shining principles of jihad. So dear students, I hope you learn this topic well, jihad and then kinds of jihad, similarly rules and regulation of the jihad, condition of the jihad and principles of the jihad. I discussed it in detail and inshallah hope you will learn it well. So dear students, here in the exercise 3 or 4 questions given. So these 4 questions having one answer in detail. These 3 question answer you will find in the given screen. And the last question, question number 7 answer is also given at the end. Dear students, these 3 answer you can find here on the given screen. The first part is about what is jihad and what is its best types. So types I mentioned here in the lecture, and here it is also written types of the jihad in this answer in detail. These are the types of the jihad given in detail. So some types are mentioned in the book, and some I wrote in detail here in your answer. And here, dear student, the last question is the question number 7. Explain the rules and regulation of jihad. What are the conditions and principles of jihad? So I mentioned here in detail. Hope you will learn it well and you will memorize and you will try to write them on. So see you inshallah in the next lecture. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.